My sister is throwing the biggest party of her life, and she forgot to invite me. But this isn't just about a missing invite. It's about being erased from your own family. It was just another Sunday. I was doing the dishes, water dripping from my fingers, when my phone buzzed with a notification from Instagram. I tapped it without thinking. And there it was, my sister Lauren, surrounded by golden balloons, standing in front of a huge sign that read, "Countdown to 30." The caption said, "Can't wait to celebrate with the most important people in my life." My stomach turned. I scrolled. Likes, comments, confirmations, but not one mention of me. Nothing. As if I didn't exist. My name is Emily Vaughn. I'm 33, and for over 2 decades, I've been the invisible backbone of my family. When Dad walked out, I was the one who kept everything from falling apart. I paid bills, ran the house, tucked Lauren in during her anxiety attacks. Her life was always chaos, and I was the lifeline holding her together. I stopped going out, stopped dating, stopped living just to keep her safe. But now, staring at that post, it felt like I'd been cut from the script of our family. Like I was just a background extra, tossed aside. My hands were shaking. I opened WhatsApp. Nothing. Email. Nothing. Even checked the spam folder. Still nothing. It was like I'd been surgically removed from her life. No noise, no mess, just gone. The party was set for Charleston in less than 2 weeks. And everyone already knew. Everyone but me. For a split second, I tried to make excuses. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she forgot. But deep down I knew. This wasn't forgetfulness. This was cold, calculated exclusion. I wasn't an oversight. I was a burden. I called Mom. She picked up with that sugary sweet voice she always used when she was about to lie. "Emily, don't take it the wrong way. The guest list just got too big. Lauren had to cut a few names." "Cut!" I snapped. "I'm her sister." Silence. Then the sigh. "It's just a party, sweetheart." The world froze for a second. How did being shut out of my sister's life get reduced to just a party? That wasn't an event. It was a statement. I had officially been downgraded to nobody. I ended the call and opened Instagram again. There she was, wine glass in hand, flowers in her hair, laughing with her friends. It looked like an ad for designer perfume. And me, I was just a spectator, watching from the outside like a stranger to a story I helped build. I hadn't been forgotten. I'd been deliberately left out. Like my presence would dim her spotlight. Like 20 years of sacrifice didn't even earn me a seat at the table. I sank into the couch, TV on mute, fan spinning slow, my body frozen. Not a single tear, not a single word, just that tight knot stuck in my throat. I tried to reason it out. Maybe I drifted away. Maybe she thought I wouldn't care. But no, the truth was clear. I was useful behind the scenes, useless on the stage. I was the latter. And now that she climbed to the top, I was left behind. The cruelest part, she didn't even hesitate. The anger came slowly, not screaming, not slamming doors, just a quiet, burning kind of rage that sat behind my eyes. And for the first time, I didn't cry. I just watched. Like my life was flashing by in a series of clips. Late-night panic calls, emergency car rides, quiet support, endless favors. All of it thrown away like some cheap flyer. And still, no one thought I had the right to be hurt. That night, curled up on the couch under my lavender blanket, I finally got it. I wasn't part of the guest list. Not for the party. Not for her life. I was just a footnote in a story they all chose to erase. I closed my eyes. And in that darkness, I made myself a promise. I will never beg to be where I'm not wanted. What I didn't know was that the real twist was still coming. While my sister celebrated with her hand-picked friends, I was replaying everything I'd ever sacrificed for her. And the cruelest part, she never even noticed. I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned until a memory hit me like a punch to the chest. I was 10 years old, already making coffee for my mom every morning. She cried a lot back then. Lauren was 7 and refused to get out of bed. I'd dress her, tie her hair up, and sneak snacks into her backpack. While other girls played with dolls, I was learning how to handle adult-sized breakdowns. I wasn't a daughter, I was a shield, and no one ever asked if I wanted that role. Because deep down, they already knew I'd never say no. At 15, Lauren ran away with a guy twice her age. My mom panicked. I grabbed a bus alone and crossed town at night to bring her back. When she failed 2 classes in high school, I stayed up for nights drilling flashcards and reading out loud until my voice was gone. When she lost her college scholarship because of too many absences, I sold my laptop, the only one I had, to cover her tuition. She cried, hugged me, and the next day acted like nothing happened. For her, my sacrifices were expected. For me, they were scars that never fully healed. I started working at 17, baking bread at a local shop. My hands were cracked from the cold, but I still shared my paycheck when Mom got sick. I turned down a tech course I wanted because Lauren wanted violin lessons, and there wasn't money for both. When she started therapy, I shifted my work hours to drive her. She had too many breakdowns, and Mom didn't drive. I was the one, always the one, the designated strong one, and the invisible one, the second things got quiet. Still, I was never the priority. Not once. Lauren's more sensitive than you, Mom would say. She just can't handle pressure, so the pressure always landed on me. While Lauren locked herself in her room over a 2-week fling, I cooked, cleaned, and calmed the storm. If I cried, I was overreacting. If I got tired, you're the stable one, Emily. But even iron rusts. And that night, lying in the dark, I felt it, the slow cracking of a soul held together by duty. Once, I was hospitalized for 5 days with a kidney infection. Alone. No visitors. No calls. Not on day 1 or day 2. On day 3, my mom texted, "Lauren had another episode, I'm busy." Lauren sent a sad emoji and a quick "get well soon, sis." That was it. I lay in that cold hospital bed, thin blanket over me, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and I wondered how someone could hurt so deeply without a single visible wound. Then it hit me. That kind of pain comes when you finally realize no one's coming, not even when you need them most. The memories came in like a hurricane. Lauren calling at 2 a.m. because she lost her keys. Me leaving dates, work, sleep, just to pick her up. When she was broke in New York, I sold my guitar. When she got evicted, she moved into my room. I took the couch. She never once said thank you, because in her mind I'd always be there. Gratitude wasn't in our dynamic. It was like a cracked mirror. Nothing ever reflected back. Maybe it was my fault. I trained everyone to believe I'd always show up, that I didn't need anything, that I could take it. So no one ever stopped to check if I was still breathing on the inside. I spent years believing that if I just worked hard enough, stayed perfect enough, I'd finally earn a place in someone's heart. But all I became was convenient. And when party time came, I was the first name scratched off the list. Lying in bed, eyes locked on the dark ceiling, I saw it clearly. I wasn't family. I was a service, a walking emotional ambulance, a concrete foundation everyone leaned on, but no one bothered to clean up after. And now that they didn't need me anymore, I was tossed aside like expired milk. That exclusion wasn't a mistake. It was a mirror held up to my life, essential behind the curtain, unwanted when the lights came on. But that was about to change. For the first time, I was about to choose me. I deactivated my Instagram, blocked my mom and sister, and ran away to a place where no one knew my name. For the first time ever, the silence was mine. I woke up with my heart racing. Instinctively, I opened Instagram and instantly regretted it. More photos from the party. Lauren, glowing in gold, surrounded by friends. On the table, my favorite cake flavor. My finger hovered over the like button. I paused, took a deep breath, then did something I never thought I would. I went to settings and hit deactivate account. Right after that, I blocked my mom and my sister. Not out of hate, but because I needed to stop bleeding while waiting for a bandage that was never coming. I just stood there, staring at the now black screen. Part of me whispered, "This is wrong. Family is forever." But another voice, sharper, stronger, replied, "And when were they ever forever with you?" I grabbed my laptop, typed quiet places to travel in the U.S., and landed on Port Townsend, Washington. Colorful coastal houses, cozy inns, cloudy skies, exactly what I needed. I booked a suite with an ocean view. For once, I picked something that didn't involve rescuing anyone. Just breathing. Packing felt like a goodbye ritual. I grabbed oversized clothes, unfinished books, my old journal, and a perfume that reminded me of who I used to be. Tossed in a pair of expensive sandals I'd never worn, too afraid they'd get ruined. As I zipped the suitcase shut, something inside me snapped. Guilt. Fear. Maybe both. I looked at myself in the mirror. What if someone needs me while I'm gone? But this time, my soul answered before my brain could. If you don't go now, you'll spend the next 10 years waiting for permission to live. The sky was gray when I arrived at the inn. The sound of waves crashing against rocks synced perfectly with my breath. The owner greeted me with a soft smile and hot hibiscus tea. The room was small but clean, with a balcony overlooking the ocean. I sat out there, tea in hand, no noise, no notifications. For the first time in years, no one needed me. And weirdly, that scared me. Who are you when you're not holding the world together? The question lingered. No answer. Just the wind. On my second day, I found a little bookshop tucked into a quiet street. I picked up a poetry book about women who rise again. I took it to the cafe next door, read 3 pages, and cried. Not from sadness, from release. It was like my body finally realized it had space to feel something other than exhaustion. The words on the page whispered to me, "You don't have to break yourself to prove you love someone." And right there, between a hot coffee and the clinking of cutlery, something in me started to heal. Later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't have to guess. It was my mom, probably using another SIM. I didn't answer. For the first time, I let the fire burn without rushing in with a bucket of water. I switched on airplane mode and stared out the window. An old woman walked by with a dog in a sweater. I smiled. Life went on. The world moved forward. And so did I. I was alive. Not because I was needed, but because I existed. That night, I did something I never allowed myself. A long, hot bath. Candles lit. Soft music playing. I put on my nicest nightgown, made a cup of tea, and slid under clean sheets. I looked up at the ceiling and thought, so this is what peace feels like. Outside, the sky was full of stars. I smiled, a soft, unfamiliar smile. I didn't think about Lauren or my mom. I thought about how good it felt to breathe without explaining myself. How beautiful silence could be when it wasn't punishment, but freedom. Before sleeping, I wrote in my journal, maybe I deserve to be happy too. I closed it, turned off the lights, and in that maybe, I found my first yes. Because maybe the real mistake wasn't loving too much, but forgetting to love the one person who always held me together, me. I curled up into the pillow like someone meeting themselves for the first time. And I slept. For once, I slept without fear of missing a call. What I didn't know was that while I finally found peace, chaos was about to explode on the other side. They cut me out of the party. Now that everything's falling apart, guess who they want back first? It was still dark when my phone started vibrating nonstop. The screen lit up over and over. 12 messages, all from people I'd already blocked. But there they were, sneaking in through new numbers. I took a deep breath. The last name to pop up made my stomach flip, Lauren. Emily, please answer me. Everything's falling apart. My body froze, but not my heart. It already knew. Now they remember me. But it wasn't my problem anymore. Not now. Not ever again. I opened the earlier texts with a steady hand. And just like I expected, chaos. Mom freaked out on Aunt Jenna in front of everyone. Lauren screamed at the fiancé. He walked out. She disappeared. Each message was another piece of a crumbling puzzle. A collapse I didn't cause. A collapse I didn't even witness. I was only being called now to put out the fire. Too late, I thought, watching the wreckage. It was like watching a house I was kicked out of fall to the ground. And now, They wanted me back to rebuild it. The irony was cold enough to make me laugh. Then came the voice message. Lauren. Shaky. Desperate. But still theatrical. I know I messed up, okay? I was stupid. But I need you. You're the only one who knows how to fix this. I played it again just to be sure. No remorse. Just panic. She didn't want to fix us. She wanted me to fix this. Clean up the mess. Like always. And like always, she thought saying, "Help me," would be enough to make me run. Then the phone rang again. It was my mom. And without thinking, I answered. "Emily, you need to come back. Your sister's falling apart. Everyone's lost. And you're out there on vacation." Her voice hit like ice water. "You knew this could happen, and you did nothing." Did nothing? My mind screamed. I wanted to list every time I had done everything. But I didn't. Not because it didn't hurt, but because now I heard it differently. She didn't want me there. She wanted me quiet, useful, erased. Again, I sat on the balcony, staring at the ocean crashing against the rocks. Strong, steady, unbothered. And I thought about all the times I asked for help and got brushed off. When I cried, they said I was dramatic. When I shut down, I was called cold. And now that I walked away, I was the selfish one, the ungrateful one, the bad daughter, the sister who disappeared. But deep inside, a voice, firm and unshaken, said, "If you go back now, everything you've done to heal will be for nothing." And I knew. Going back meant pressing rewind on years of pain. It meant saying, "Go ahead. Use me again." I walked down to the sand. My feet sank into it. The wind hit my face like a slap of truth. I felt the old instinct creeping in. Run, help, fix it. Part of me still hoped for a thank you I'd never received. Maybe this time, the wounded voice inside whispered. But my body said something else. Not this time. I asked myself, does this make me a bad person? Is this selfish? And then it hit me. This wasn't revenge. It was survival. It was the first time I chose to stand tall, while their world crumbled. I sat on a rock and closed my eyes. And I saw it all. Lauren screaming. Mom blaming everyone. Relatives whispering. Broken glass on the floor. And in the middle of all the noise, a silence so loud it echoed. My silence. My absence. For the first time, my no spoke louder than every yes I'd ever given. I opened my eyes. Took a deep breath. The phone buzzed again. No hesitation this time. I hit the button. Power off. They cut me out of their story. Now I'm writing my own. And this time, I'm not just background noise. After years of being everyone else's support, I finally chose to be my own. The last morning in Port Townsend arrived with a layer of mist and the scent of salt in the air. I sat on the lounge chair on the balcony, a light blanket over my legs, a cup of tea in my hands. The waves rolled and slowly unrushed. It was silent, but not the kind that hurts. It was the kind that holds you. That whispers, you don't have to run anymore. Far in the distance, tiny boats drifted across the horizon. For the first time, I felt part of the world, not part of a burden. Whole. Finally whole. In my mind, I still heard my mother's words. You're hard to love, Emily. For years, I tried to mold myself. Softer, quieter, more like them. I believe the problem was me. That if I was smaller, lighter, easier, I'd be accepted. But standing there with sea salt on my skin, I realized it was never about me. It was about their limits. About their inability to love someone who says, enough. And now, finally, I was saying it. My phone buzzed. I didn't rush. I already knew. Lauren. The preview read, Emily, if you still care. I didn't read the rest. Not this time. I smiled. Not with bitterness, not with anger. With freedom. I slid the phone into the drawer. Closed it. That part of my life didn't belong to me anymore. I had spent a lifetime being the family's emergency contact. But now I was a period. My silence wasn't revenge. It was an answer. And a cure. I walked down to the beach. The wind tangled my hair as cold waves kissed my feet like they were saying, welcome back. The sky started turning soft orange and gold. I closed my eyes, breathed in deep, and thought, maybe I'm not the perfect sister, but I am finally mine. And in that moment, that was enough. I didn't need anything else, not apologies, not late invitations. I already had what I came for, peace. My footsteps left trails in the sand, but the tide quickly erased them. It felt like the universe was saying, you get to start over. The woman who arrived here was broken, exhausted, starving for validation. The one leaving, she was new, lighter, and it didn't matter if no one noticed the change. Because I did. I saw it. I felt it. And this time that was enough. For once, happiness didn't come with guilt. And solitude, it wasn't loneliness. It was freedom. I pulled a piece of paper from my coat pocket, wrote just 3 words. I choose peace. I folded it, buried it in the sand. Let the wind carry away the rest. Their lives, let them unfold in chaos or bloom. It's not my job to fix them anymore. My job is different now, to be present in my own life. I had been the sister, the daughter, the fixer. But I had never been Emily. And now I wanted to meet the woman who survived the storm. Because she, finally, could breathe without apologizing for it. I went back to the inn and packed my bag. Every item felt lighter. I didn't cry. I didn't hesitate. Before I shut the door, I looked one last time at the balcony, the place where I silently said goodbye to my pain. And I smiled, that quiet, calm smile of someone who knows. I'm no longer just surviving. I'm the author of a story. And yes, I'm finally ready to write the next chapter. After years of being overlooked, she finally chose herself. And if you thought this story was intense, just wait until you hear Claire's. 13 years with no word from her son. And then out of nowhere, he shows up. Click the video on your screen right now to see what happened when they came face to face. And if you haven't followed the channel yet, now's the time. Because every day, there's a new story, sometimes fiction, and sometimes it's all too real.